Hi guys, it's Matt from Reddog4x4 here, and I'm excited to bring you our next episode of our Cape York adventures down the Frenchmans Track with the McKee clan adventures, our friends that we travel with on the YouTube as well. You can go and follow us on Reddog4x4 if you like our videos, and there'll be more to come. Here we're picking up after we've been up to the tip via the Tele Track. We came back down, stayed a couple of days in Weipa, and because we're fairly excited about how successful we were, we decided we'd tackle the Frenchman's Track. Now, Frenchman's Track runs just from the Telegraph Road side over to the eastern coast near a place called Chile Beach, which is most people's destinations. The first section of the track is fairly straightforward. There's a couple of sections like this one where it splits off from the original track, and that's basically just been made like this because of previous wet weather damage. We did this first little split off here, came across this fellow with a 75 series who told us about a group that were following him along. Kind of interesting because they were bringing back a bloke who didn't even make it to the Wenlock. He was on a motorbike and apparently he'd come a cropper and broken his leg. They were heading back towards Weipa to get him fixed up. This is one of the few times when we actually needed to recover Marty, and this didn't look like very much. But he just couldn't seem to get quite over that edge. I think if he knew how close he'd come, he probably would have just given it a proper send there, but in the end we ended up doing a snatch recovery. As we were coming through the western section, we came across the closest we'd been to the burnoffs so far. Now, burnoffs happen every year in Cape York. The native people up there that own the land, they go through and make sure it's safe for everybody by burning off the undergrowth. And it's not like fires in the southern states where if you have a bit of undergrowth burning, it can catch fire to the big canopy of trees, and it's really deadly. Around here, it's just the undergrowth, and they know exactly what time of year to burn it, so it's safe for everyone still to be in the area. Still freaks you out a bit if you're from the southern states though. It really is a cool feeling to be driving so close to the burn-off as you're going through. So the western section of this track is fairly easy to do. There's a couple of little river crossings where you can have some fun at, or you can go around. It is a two-way track though, so you got to keep in mind that there may be people coming the other direction. We only had a couple of groups, and I think one or two of those people may have been coming back as not going across a couple of the river crossings and just returning. We started the track fairly late in the day, so we decided to try and find camp, and this is a secret little spot just before the Wenlock. It is actually on the Wenlock, and we weren't too sure where we were going at this stage. We went into this fairly dense looking forest section, and we were absolutely delighted to find what was my favourite campsite of any place on Cape York we went to. This was pretty steep coming in here, and we weren't knowing exactly what to expect. I can tell you I was absolutely blown away with how awesome this campsite is. There was one person on this little riverside campsite, but they were a long way from us. We felt like we had the whole place to ourselves. That is the Wenlock River. morning two of the Frenchmans Track, we discovered that when the sun came up, the sand actually got a lot softer and I had to let the tyres down just to get out. It's quite a good fun track to come down, but I can tell you now, it's a lot of fun just going back up it as well. This is the track that goes back to the main Frenchmans Track. So we're still on the western side of the Wenlock, we haven't crossed it at this stage. And originally we came down this track looking to avoid a really big boggy marsh that was on the way into the river, and accidentally found this camp. We ended up finding another way around the big boggy section, but we still had to go and cross the Wenlock, which we had no idea at the time, but a few people had told us it was fairly gnarly and there is really no chicken track around. Now, I've got to apologise in advance. I was using a GoPro and somehow I managed to make it go at double time, so when I did the Wenlock it didn't record it at proper speed. Actually turned out to be a pretty good crossing, and the exit was not too bad. This is Marty's footage and he managed to capture this all at proper time. Shows you the entry is actually pretty gnarly even when it's dry like this. This last little section really did get your heart racing. Marty gets a bit of a wheel lift here. The river itself was actually quite low at this stage, and even though it was flowing at a reasonable rate, we still didn't have any issues crossing here. I could imagine this being quite a lot worse when it was flowing a lot more. There's a couple of really cool sections of this part of the track between the Wenlock and the Pasco. Lots of little low-lying wetland areas, so be a little bit careful coming through, but generally it's a lot of fun. Alright, we'll try this wheel track now and see how deep this gets straight away. And woo! Some clay, deep clay, deep soft clay. Ooh. Oh yeah. But firm base at the bottom of it. Just up to my nuts. But the problem is that there's this big hump in the middle, which I'm pretty sure we're going to bottom out on. The middle bit, I can walk up and down. No stresses. And just after me walking through, it looks like that. I think we'll try the steep one over here. Yeah, that looks like us. So this particular crossing, this one across. This particular crossing, we have plenty of options to go around, but we decided to have a bit of a play, and well, my winch failed, so Marty had to tow me out. He did quite a good job too. Marty, on the other hand, thought, well, I've got a good winch. Let's give it a crack anyway. He really did. Sideways, steer sideways. Go hard right. Hard right, hard right. The other right. No, that's left. Let's go the other way. Want to try your winch? Copy. So at this point in time, Marty decided to go for the winch. The rear wheels weren't letting him back up and get another crack at it, and the front just wasn't getting enough purchase, which is pretty much the same problem we had with the Reddog. Now, we thought the winch might only be a couple of feet's worth. Marty might just be able to drive out of it. This stuff turned out to be a lot slipperier than we thought it was. I'm not going to lie, it's about this point that I thought that Marty would be able to just drive out of it, but it really did just not want to go, it just slipped. I think even Marty was a little bit surprised at this stage because it still was too slippery to drive. I mean, thank God we had the winch. And there we go. Okay, hang on a minute. Oh, it's still slipping. At this stage, I can't believe it's still slipping. And there we have it. That was a bit of fun. But this was the main event. We'd heard all about the Pasco from everyone who came back the other way, and I'm going to be honest, nothing did it justice. This is the entry, and it goes for a couple of 100 meters before the actual river crossing, and it would have to be some of the gnarliest track on the Frenchmans and anywhere in the Cape we did. Just on the way into and out of, not even the actual river crossing itself. Well, footage doesn't do it justice. If you ever hear of anyone towing a trailer down here, they are either extremely capable and really good drivers or just freaking crazy. about here when you're wondering exactly how far you have to go before you get to the river. This big boulder that's right in the middle of the track doesn't leave a whole lot of room to go around it. There's a little staging area just past it. Yes, this is me. I apologise, I look bloody hilarious walking down here, trying to help Marty out a bit. He probably could have done this without me, to be honest, but I'm trying my best to make it look like I know what I'm doing when it comes to spotting. You can see just down here, there's a blue Navara D22 that had been left there. We didn't realise it at the time, but that had been drowned just before we got there, and I believe it's still there. One of the 24/7 crew even started salvaging parts of it to fix a V8 they used last year. Go and have a look at it, it's probably still there. This is just the slipperiest thing, it's like falling with style. And you'll notice that there are some spectators here. There's also a few people marking the creek. Now, it flows from right to left, and it is pretty deep in places, but it's all rocky on the bottom, so as long as you don't hit a couple of these big rocks, which you'll find people standing on in this picture, you can manage to get across relatively unscathed. Marty made that look fairly easy, even though the people in front of us hung around to make sure we didn't get stuck, which is very nice of them. This is the fast-forwarded version on GoPro doing double time. The footage doesn't show it here, but I even managed to stall it just on the exit. This exit, you will need at least a limited slip diff or some lockers. It's good fun. The rest of the track on the eastern side is not really that much of a four-wheel drive challenge, but it does present some beautiful differing views, stuff that you haven't seen at all. It's much lower than the vegetation on the other side. There's still some sections which you'll have to slow down for, of course, and if you do decide you want to do the big gnarly options there, you can, but and this was like the mini Grand Canyon we saw. It all finished up at Chili Beach, which honestly was a beautiful place to stay, but really, really windy, and no one really tells you it's that windy until you get there. But it is an awesome place to finish up your trip if you're doing the Frenchmans. And that wraps up our Frenchmans Track trip. Please subscribe for more and follow us and McKee Clan Adventures as well. We look forward to bringing you some more. We've still got a couple more videos before we finish this trip, before we start the next one. Thanks for watching anyways, and I'm again Matt from Reddog4x4 and Reddog4x4. Make sure you subscribe and follow for more.